So basically, we actually just recorded for like probably half an hour, except we were not recording.
I don't think I've ever laughed so hard for an entire like half hour than I just did.
So to sum it up, Jackson said that. So I said I'm the.
Why do we have to bring this?
I
into
said
this
I'm
one?
the mom appeal on the podcast because we were. Well, we answered a Patreon question that said.
I have such a bad pit in my stomach now. I'm so upset.
Jackson, I've laughed the hardest I've ever laughed in my life, I think, and it's not recorded.
I'm so upset.
Are you upset with me?
No,
How am I supposed to know? The number was going up.
I don't. I'm not upset with you.
I mean, it doesn't matter because we're gonna start over anyway.
We're gonna, yeah. I just.
Welcome to Mixed Reviews. We have to introduce.
That's the very first time Asha's ever introduced a podcast.
Welcome to Mixed Reviews, but this is not a review. There's no. Why are you giggling?
I don't know. I'm just still giggly from the last.
Anyways, so this Mixed Reviews is not reviews at all. There's no movie. The whole premise of the podcast, we threw it out the window today. It's just chatting.
We're quitting, guys.
We're quitting.
We're quitting.
This is our declaration of
independence from Mixed Reviews.
So true.
To clarify, our editor needed a week off. And our episode 4 this week wasn't ready yet, which is, I'm very excited for our next episode. We have a very special guest. I'm very excited. But it was not ready in time, so we sat down and chat. And that's this week.
Thanks for coming, everyone. We'll see you next week.
We'll see you next.
Jackson's upset.
So I'm very upset.
Jackson asked a few of our patrons for some questions on this go-around. We've already answered a question, but
why don't you answer it again, YOLO?
It was a nice question.
We're going to answer it again. So what is it?
Can we hear Asha's funny story first?
Maybe.
I'll tell you a story about Uncle David.
Well, to clarify again, we were talking about how each other's day was, and we put it to Asha, and Asha gave us the funniest story I've ever heard.
Okay, let's ease into it. Jackson, how's your day today?
It was, compared to your day, I think it was such a boring day. We're all working, so we haven't really sat.
Ask me about my day.
How was your day, Tom?
It was good. Asha, tell us about your day.
My day. My Friday, February 17th, I worked a 10-hour shift. I worked a 6-hour shift. Oh, my God. I worked a 6-hour shift at Snowfield's PC Express from 10 o'clock until 4 o'clock p.m.
Thanks. So much detail.
And
what's your social insurance
number? Shut up. They want to find out my social insurance number, and I thought it was a joke at first, but they keep asking.
Why was this the best half an hour we've ever recorded of us conversating, and we missed it?
My social insurance number is.
Have some respect.
Literally, he's so disrespectful, and maybe Uncle David did have a point. So this guy comes up to me at work. I'm working PCX just to, okay, let's make this a movie. The establishing shot, I'm in a corner at the grocery store alone. There's pantries surrounding me. That is all. No people, just pantries. And this guy comes running up to me. He's like, oh, wow.
What? This is so unenthusiastic.
This guy comes running up to me. He's like, wow, you must be so intelligent. I was like, what the hell? Who are you, stranger? And he goes, no, look, your fingers are so long. That means you're intelligent. So I'm flattered, right? I'm like, wow, he thinks I'm smart. How did he see my hands? Because I don't wear mittens to work. I don't know what you want me to say, bro.
Well, it's like, do you walk around with your... Well, I mean,
yeah, I do my stupid little T-Rex fingers. Yes, I stand like that all the time, boss. Anyways.
So you just walk up with
your hands
out.
So I go, why are you saying this? And he's like, oh, yeah, I'm a psychic. Like, I'm a palm reader. And if you have long fingers, it means you're intelligent. So I was like, period. And then he goes, oh, and you're not violent. I'm like, why am I not violent? What? That's a big jump. And he goes,
I'd beg to differ.
Okay.
Shut up.
I just want to make jokes. Okay, continue the story. I get it. I'm being dogged on today.
Anyways, so then I go, why am I not violent? Because actually I do agree with Jackson. Sometimes I do like a little push and shove, you know. When push comes to shove, I push and shove, and then he's like, because your thumb is straight. I was like, what? Like my thumb is straight? And then he shows me his, and he's like, look at mine, like mine's really crooked, isn't it? And
So he's violent?
I was like, dang, like, wow, what does that mean? He's like, oh, I'm a violent person. I was like, okay,
My thumb's
sounds
crooked?
good. And then he asked if I had a boyfriend,
shake your
and
head
I
on
say
a podcast.
yes. I have a boyfriend.
She's telling
oh
her
my
story.
god, like Jackson is literally the worst. Okay, so he asked if I have a boyfriend. I say yes, I have a boyfriend. He goes, does your boyfriend have a straight or crooked thumb? I'm like, I don't know. He's like, look at it next time, see if his thumb is crooked or straight, and then purposefully push all of his buttons to see how he reacts. Then that'll correspond with his crooked thumb. I was like, okay, so
Do you think I have a crooked thumb?
yeah, actually. So I go, what do I do if he just like starts beating me up? Like I just take it? I just accept my fate of dating a crooked thumbed man who's full of violence. And then he goes, no, you can just call Uncle David. Now, I just would like to preface this by saying I do not have an Uncle David.
You have an Uncle Joe.
Correct, but I don't have
Why are
an
we like
Uncle
doxing
David.
Asha today?
So I say, I don't have an Uncle David. Who's Uncle David? And he goes, it's me. I'm Uncle David. Anyway, I like entertained him for maybe 5 more minutes and then like sent him on his way because he was like, oh, I know how you die. Like it's painful.
What?
And I was like, whoa.
Did you say anything else?
No,
You
I
never-
was
you
like,
didn't-
what do you
No,
mean
didn't you
it's
hear? She just
painful?
walked away from him.
No, I sent him on his way because he was like telling me how I have a painful death, and I was like, sir, like
Did
if
he
you're
give you
saying this, you
details?
gotta tell me, like,
gotta
give me the
prepare.
deets, you know, right? That's what I said. I said I want to prepare if I get like murdered. Tell me the date and how it happens, and I will make sure that that does not happen. He
Plot
goes, oh,
twist.
I can't alter time
Doesn't
for you.
do it.
Like I don't want to get mixed in with this because that could alter the future. I was like, well, that's kind of the goal, so I don't die a painful death. Like, tell me how I could prevent it. He's like, I can't get involved. I was like,
You
okay,
just need
bye
to call
then.
Uncle David.
Huh?
Said you just need to call Uncle David.
Dude, just cool it.
Boo. Are you gonna make an anti-Sarah joke again?
No! You didn't even mention that part of the story this time.
What part? Oh, what part was it?
Well, the last time. Oh my gosh, there's no point. It's never gonna be heard
I've never
anyways.
seen Jackson give up.
I'm so frustrated that it wasn't recording. I was like, I didn't even arm the channels. Like, there was no chance, even if it was. Anyways,
So why'd you say it started?
I thought I had started. I didn't look.
That's funny.
Whatever.
Well, now we
Yeah,
have a
thank-
second shot at comedy.
So that was my
I've been
day.
trying. Everyone's shutting me down every time I make a joke.
It wasn't funny the first time she was telling this story. It's not going to be funny on the second go. Okay, we have a whole hour worth of stuff you can crack jokes at. Just leave this one be. Jesus.
I don't know if he's okay, guys. Sometimes I look at Jackson, I see the way he's reacting. I'm like, is he okay, truly? Do you need help?
Talk about the Nope podcast real quick and how Jackson nearly cried.
What?
I didn't know.
The Nope podcast where everything went wrong?
Just so you guys
the
know,
live stream.
behind
The
the,
live
scenes,
stream, sorry, yeah.
this guy was like quickening his, I don't know, his dive into male pattern baldness. He was like pulling at his hair. It's like he was very stressed out. He's
Like-
not bald, just so you know. I know some people don't know how he looks. He doesn't actually have male pattern baldness. I'm just saying the way he was pulling on the top of his head, I thought it was gonna rip off like a toupee.
Jeez, you are getting dogged on.
I'm not dogging him. Meow.
No, she's being nice and clarifying that I don't have male pattern balls, even though I will.
balls.
Yeah, can you try that one again?
I'm brave.
I have
How about
male
we just...
pattern balls.
I have male pets' ballsness.
My balls are patterned like a man.
Oh,
Talking about balls, I heard our Patreon has a question in reference to balls. Can you read it out loud, Jackson?
Well, I texted our patrons and asked them for questions, and then Asha started texting me while I was explaining it, asking me questions. The third one, and the only one I've read so far, by the way, is how big are your balls? Be honest.
So we said maybe we can measure it in milligrams.
No, Asha just says.
Is it
you kept rambling on about measuring balls, and then you said how many milligrams, and that got us so off guard. Anyways,
Are we gonna stage that?
I ruined the joke. No,
Okay.
it's fine. This is gonna be so chaotic.
This is all chaos.
This is so chaotic.
What's our real patron question?
Yeah, read them off, boss.
This is Asha's question. That's not even the right. Okay.
How big are your butt? Wait.
Wait a second.
That's
not a
not
question.
it.
What's a Patreon question? What did they pay to answer? Tell me what the paying customers asked. I'll answer them.
Okay, so our first question. Why? See, I'm so scared none of this is going to be funny at all because I'm just hallucinating everything. I feel. Anyways.
What? Okay, period. Can I get some Coke as well?
Yes.
Yeah, just open the door quick.
Yeah.
Oh, you want mine? What? Sorry, I thought you were going to the fridge and then you just walk up to me. Sorry, that caught me so off guard.
I've retreated back to my chair. Do you know
let's-
they segregate me? Anyway, what's the first question,
Dump
Jackson?
it. This garbage.
Dump it. This.
I have no idea what the reference is.
Let's just all take some deep breath.
I think you need it.
I feel like we need to apologize to our viewers for what they're listening to. What's our question?
Okay, so our first question: why did you start the podcast? From my recollection, it was that there was last winter, probably about two.
Probably about two.
Probably about a year ago, around now.
Yeah.
You would come up every weekend from Sudbury and visit us before you moved in.
Yeah.
And we would chat, we would watch movies, and all what I remember is just a matter of a conversation of I was working on a podcast that didn't end up going through, and we were coming up with ideas of projects we could do together, and we brought up, oh, well, let's do a podcast. What we do, oh, we can talk about movies, and then it turned into we could talk about the good or bad about movies, and then it turned into sort of what it is now. It was basically how movies are made and how it's received as good or bad, sort of. Whatever this podcast is, you listen to it.
Yeah.
It's evolved. There's been lots of conversations we had talking about what we want to do with it.
Yeah. It all started originally with Jordan. Probably back to a couple years ago, he got this puppet of himself. I thought that was amazing. So I said to him, like, you know how funny it would be if we made a podcast talking about movies, but the thing is I would also get a puppet that matched what I look like, and it would be like kind of the Joe Rogan experience, only we'd have the puppets on camera. We'd just have like conversations about movies. We were originally going to call that either What the Fluff, like the What the Fluff podcast, or Fuzz for Brains.
I like it. Which I love mixed reviews, and I don't remember which of it was probably a joint.
I think I came at you with mixed reviews.
Probably. I like it. I wish we looked it up though and realized before we published it that there was like 7 other mixed reviews.
Yeah, but we're the best one.
We are. How did Asha? I don't remember how we got. Because I remember with Batman, it was just a matter of, hey Asha, let's have you on. I genuinely.
No, it's because I was your personal assistant. Because you guys had awkward pause when you would look things up, because you'd be like, I wonder who played this, and then you'd look it up, and then you would lose your train of conversation. So you summoned me and said, you sit there, and if we ask you a question, then you look it up, and then you answer. I think the next episode,
Well, then you left. They recorded that and then you left.
that was a stupid day too. I was PO'd to begin with because Jackson's like, hey, Asha, I'm going to pick you up at 7 because you work at 8. I'm going to pick you up at 7. Then we'll just spend like 45 minutes doing this podcast. I'm like, okay. So I'm waking up extra early, right? To go to this podcast. And we literally do not start until 7:30. Jackson literally takes half an hour to get this whole thing set up. I'm like, what? What's happening?
We were having tech issues.
And also, it was back in the day when we did it sitting around that table.
Yeah. This is when Mateus still lived here. And George was bugging us all.
Right.
Yeah, we talked about his balls.
Full circle. At least we know where the source is.
Back to the balls.
Yeah, balls, bro. His
Yeah.
balls are probably like 10 milligrams each. Anyways.
Was I going back to Sudbury that day?
Probably. It's probably why we did it before Asha worked rather
Yeah.
than. It was nice doing it early in the morning.
Was I going on the date? Was that a date day with stepbrother?
Why
Yeah.
why do people only ever come up to visit us when they have a date in North Bay?
I don't know, dude. When I started coming to visit, that was like the first time in a while since we were like roommates where we were starting to pal up again.
Probably the first time I genuinely actually seen you.
Yeah, for a couple years.
Other than just like
a hello
seeing
at the
you
school.
at the school. It was nice.
Yeah.
And then it
And then
restarted
turned
our
into
friendship.
this, yeah.
And now we're stuck with each other.
Yeah.
I will say though, Asha's been more than great of includedment. But which it doesn't help that we also took a long break to record episodes, but also Asha left, so it was like just random amounts of episodes where Asha wasn't here.
Yeah. I think we only recorded like 1 or 2 without
We only did 2 that summer because we were both so busy.
Yeah.
But then Asha came back and we kept it
started
up.
back up.
And we stopped editing it ourselves, which that's the reason the podcast took so long to start up.
Because I was awful at it. It was also trying to do like the video.
Yeah, we did other ones that were video because we did Parasite video. We were going to do us, and then we were like, no, dump it. Everything Everywhere All at Once, we did video for, and we lost all our light, so it looked terrible.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And then we dumped it.
It's just easier for everyone, I think, right now to do audio.
And once we stopped being terrible at talking.
Yeah. Once
Which
we got notes.
We are getting better.
Yeah, I agree.
Probably the best thing we ever did for this podcast was edit the first 2 episodes because we realized how terrible we were at talking. And especially with the amount of pauses we take to look stuff up. Which brings us back to why we brought Asha on.
Yeah. What's our second patron question?
Yeah.
What is it?
What is your favorite kind of shot and which film used it best? It's a nice little film question.
Yeah. I know what shot I hate, but we talked about it.
We did it on
enough.
us.
What shot do you hate?
I hate the dual focus shot where you have someone in your foreground who's in focus and then you can see clearly that it's 2 different shots with 2 different depths of field kind of merged over each other. Really don't like it. But actually, you know what I have to say? I saw one other movie recently that actually used it.
What was it? I was there for that. What was that we were watching?
No, I was watching it. This is another one I found.
It was the one we were talking about was Candy.
Yeah.
The TV show Candy.
Yes,
that
was
very good.
But you want to know what else I watched recently? 3 movies all in a weekend.
Oh, the Star Wars movies.
Yeah.
The prequels.
Revenge of the Sith had it, and it wasn't awful.
Would they have VFX that, or would they have actually done a split diopter?
It was definitely 2 shots over each other, same as like the one in Us. But the thing is, what I realize why I don't like that shot so much is the shots that pull it off use it well because the depth of field in the foreground isn't like T14. It's a bit more slow, like a bit more stopped down, so like 2.8 or like 3.6 or whatever. And it's not like grossly out of focus. It's at least a little bit, and then the merge is in focus.
So it has the close shot has a deeper depth of field, so less blurry in the background.
Yeah. And it's
Gotcha.
in my like I find like ones like Us where you can tell it's T1. You know,
Background's
just so
completely poor.
and then there's
Just so blurred
and then
out.
there's the gross blend in the middle where the rest of it's all in focus.
Which what I didn't realize after talking about that, because I really hadn't seen it very much, I didn't know much about it. What I didn't know is that it's not always VFX. I didn't realize that there's actually like the split diopter, which is the piece that goes on the lens that does that manually. I didn't know that existed.
Me neither.
When we first talked about that. And then right after I learned, I went, oh crap, I wish I looked it up before we did the podcast. But
Well, I think most of the times it's done in VFX, especially in Us.
especially now. Yeah, in us it was definitely.
But
That's too when you see the weird transition between the two is when you have the glass.
that's the shot I don't like. So we should talk about the shots we actually like and actually answer the question.
I think Asha can answer this question for me. Asha, what's my favorite kind of shot?
Match cut.
I'm still going to use that as my answer because she knows that I love match cuts. It's not technically a shot, but
It is a transition.
I think that counts as an answer. I freaking love match cuts. If I'm going to say which are my favorites, it's going to be anything Edgar Wright. Like Baby Driver, there's some ones in there. But also I can never really think of many other examples because I just see it and I go, nice. There was a Super Bowl. You see the Super Bowl commercial that had a sick
No, I haven't
match
seen
cut?
any Super Bowl commercials this year.
I was disappointed in a lot of them. But there was one that like transitions from like waves to like
I have seen that.
yeah, the tiling to the roofing. That was so cool.
I didn't know that was a
VFX.
Super Bowl commercial.
That's just what I saw. The TikTok could have been lying to me. I didn't look it up.
To answer the question, my favorite shot, I think, in every single movie, it just makes me happy, is an ultra wide camera is 500 feet away, wide shot, not of an establisher, but of like just people walking. You know, you see it a lot. There's a shot in Peanut Butter Falcon. It's just a super wide shot, like a landscape shot. Lord of the Rings has 100 of them. Just beauty wide shots for days. This is my favorite shot.
I think my favorite one of those I've ever seen, because it was funny, was the one in Napoleon Dynamite where he's late for the prom and he's trying to run run all the way to the school. I think that's my favorite one, just because how funny that John Hader runs.
That's something I try to put into my filmmaking all the time, is at least one super wide, super pulled out shot of characters either in a scene. You know, like I'm writing a script about like an aunt and a nephew going through like a really tough loss together. And I just have this image in my head of like a super wide shot of them sitting out on the porch in the backyard, just like the whole house, the whole like trees up above the house. And it's just this aunt and nephew just very tiny in the frame.
Like an ant.
Yes. Funny. A huge inspiration for a lot of my movies called Manchester by the Sea.
I've never seen it.
Beautiful. Very heartbreaking. But just to answer your question, just super wide shots that aren't establishing shots.
That's crazy, because I was about to say my favorite type of shot is an establishing shot.
What's an establishing shot?
An establishing shot is typically the first shot, and it's usually extreme long shot, sometimes just long shot, that establishes the location of a scene that is going to take place.
Look at that. When I started dating Asha, Asha knew none of this stuff.
It's not Jackson who taught me. It was
thanks
actually
to
Outdoor
me.
Adventure on Screen that taught me. So
It was a mix of
thank Gillian Phillips. She taught me, not Jackson. Get wrecked.
Asha's back.
Sorry.
See, this is why when you stop talking and the energy dies. It's because you're funny.
What's our third question?
What is it?
Unless you have anything else
It
to
doesn't
add.
matter.
Well, we can look at one of Asha's other questions. Who do you like least in this room and why? I think Asha has an answer because Asha asked the question.
No, I don't. No. I answer last.
I think I already know the answer.
There's good politics with this, though. Because I'm the easy answer to this. Because I'm her boyfriend, she can, haha, funny, I'm her least favorite person. But if she says you, then is she, I don't know. I was going to try to make a bit out of it, but I don't know where to go.
No, let's play it.
Nope. I dumped it.
Okay, who's your favorite? Who's your least favorite is what I meant.
I love the three of you.
It's not. There's not three of us.
Sorry.
Are you looping yourself in? You love yourself?
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
I don't know. Tom's my best buddy. Asha's my girlfriend.
Dude,
Can't
I can
complain.
take the heat. That's
I'm
fine.
not gonna just because Asha's my
This
girlfriend.
is such an awkward position for them to be put in. This is so awkward.
I think this
Who
is done on
asked
purpose
that?
to divide us.
No. Keep going.
I agree.
I think she was trying to push our buttons and see if we really are violent like our
I
fingers.
don't know. My thumb's pretty crooked.
I got Uncle David on speed dial, bro. Watch it.
Don't make me call my aunt Sarah.
That was funny. That one made me.
Okay.
Tom, am I your least favorite person in the room right now?
Yep.
Right? Oh, right now? Oh, yeah. 100% it's Asha.
What am I doing?
Well, we recorded for about, like
I
half
feel
an
like-
hour, and
I feel
someone
like
was in front of the
Jackson-
computer.
Jackson
and
needs to
didn't
learn how to
realize.
take accountability because, first of all, I'm an English and history major. I don't touch a computer unless I'm writing an essay, okay? This dude, has been computering for the past, 30 years? And, yeah, literally
In the
since
womb.
in the womb. And Tom literally asks, is this recording? And Jackson goes, yeah.
That is exactly actually.
So I don't second guess it. I don't second guess my boyfriend who is like IT to the max, right? And then he's like, oh, Asha's sitting in front of the computer, doesn't even realize it. Without realize, I'm the same person who does not know how to start or stop this podcast. I've been sitting in front of this computer how many times now? For 6 episodes. So I think you gotta start, acknowledging the role that you played in this.
Okay, I changed my answer. I
changed my answer. Tom's the worst. Tom's the worst.
No, I was going to
Jackson,
say
I think
I'm
you
the
should-
worst.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You're the worst. They're instigators. They instigate, just like right now.
That's the one that asked the question who's the least favorite person in the room.
It gave us good content, though, didn't it? I know what I'm
You've
doing.
divided
Tensions
us.
are high now.
I love it. I know what I'm doing here.
This is why I've developed a very dry and flat face.
Yeah, sorry. Tom, you haven't answered yet.
I did.
Yeah,
Yeah, you
did.
did. So
It's me.
and I leaned hard into it, right?
Yeah, and I was gonna say, Tom, until you started blaming me for this stupid podcast not recording.
I was gonna say Tom.
I knew that.
With all due, I feel like you're the only one put in a tricky position right now, Jackson.
Not really.
Okay,
What's the next question?
that's it.
The next question is about No, there is another. I added another. I had a first question.
What's the most illegal thing you've ever done?
Ooh,
Crash my car into a pole at McDonald's?
that's weak, dude.
Oh, I don't know. I've never done anything illegal. I say Asha asked it, so Asha has to answer first.
What's the most illegal thing I've ever done?
You're giving me more questions for it.
For fun.
I
I
like
don't
that you
know.
still
You're
add
lacking.
Patreon question at the beginning of it.
Why don't you just ask these questions?
Well, because he's supposed to be like, oh, a Patreon user asked this
Oh,
question.
sorry. A Patreon user asked a question. Who's your least favorite person in this room right now and why?
Jackson, have you ever... I don't think you've done...
done-
Did you ever return a library book a little bit late?
I was really on top of it.
Have you ever, maybe it's speeding. I don't know.
I think...
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh, I've gotten a ticket. That's true. I forgot about that. I have got a speeding ticket.
Having a brake light that doesn't work or something.
Yeah, but even the cop was like, what? Direct quote.
Can you imagine? Like, you get pulled over? No. Can you imagine you get pulled over? The cop comes up to your window. He knocks on it. He goes, dun, dun, dun. And then you roll your window down, and he just has, like, the pen and paper and just goes, "Dup," and walks away, and then comes back with a ticket. It says, brake light out.
No, it just said,
That's funny. What seems to be the problem, officer?
Okay.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I think I have an answer. That probably, other than my speeding ticket, probably the most illegal thing I did was my parents had just gotten our cat Scout, and we were at PetSmart, and I totally walked out with a laser pointer.
Oh.
Because it was just in my hand. I didn't think anything of it. That's the closest I've ever gotten to doing something illegal.
Wow, you're so lame. Just kidding, guys. Follow the law.
Okay, Asha, your turn. Your turn, Asha. What's the most illegal thing you've done?
So my dad took us grocery shopping to Walmart. He gets his groceries. We leave. We walk out and we're by the car, just a mere 30 meters from the store. And just as we're about to hop in the car, I turn to my father and I say, I don't have anything in my pocket. And then he goes, what's in your pocket? And then I bring out a chocolate bar and I go, look what I got. And I'm laughing, giggling, thinking it's a funny prank. And my dad got really upset and brought me back to the Walmart customer service place and made me give it back to them. He wouldn't even buy it from me. I was very upset. And then in the car he goes, okay, like obviously that was wrong, but just don't tell your mother. She doesn't need any added stress. And then we get home. The first thing my brother does, he runs to the door. He goes, Mom, guess what Asha did at Walmart? She stole chocolate. Like, it was just not a good experience. But I guess that's how I learned the law, and I haven't broken it since.
Okay, Tom.
I have a couple stories.
What's the best one?
I was like 17 or 18 with my cousin, and his mom owned a building. Like, she was a superintendent or something of like a building in Toronto. And I don't know how many, like, do you know those buildings that have like shop fronts at the, like, they're like little shopping malls, right. And then above
like
them,
on Main Street.
Kind of, yeah, but like,
or like Bob's Burgers.
Yeah, but like huge apartments, okay, yeah. Like in Toronto, massive. The building she owned or managed at the time, that entire shop front at the bottom of the building was like abandoned and empty.
Okay.
So my cousin and I would go down and skateboard in that area. Because it was like all tiles, so like the board would like ride like super smooth. But then one day we were like near the windows, because there were a couple like cool little things we built out near the windows, and we could see out to the street, and it was like a really cool vibe. And I guess a couple cops saw us through the window skating in there and started to like,
you can't be in there,
and started to try to find their way into the building, and we just dipped. And like technically that's a trespass, but whatever. We were also like 17 and 18 skateboarding. And then another thing I did was when I graduated high school, a bunch of my friends and I thought it would be a good idea. We just graduated high school to go to the top onto the roof of the school.
What? Oh my.
How many balls did you find on the roof of the building?
Like balls, like tennis balls and soccer balls?
No,
like
testicles.
I meant like tennis balls, but as soon as I said
like,
it, I thought 7
at least
milligram
a couple,
balls.
maybe. No,
How many
tennis balls
milligrams?
and stuff, probably 6 milligrams total. I don't know. We weren't looking. It was nighttime, and then we saw cops come into the parking lot, and we all hit the deck. So we all kind of laid there for a couple minutes. And then we peeked up and saw like the cops were now like parked. I don't know if you've ever noticed like cops will park in a parking lot sometimes and just talk for an hour.
And usually
have
they're
coffee.
scoping out other people who park in the parking lot that are sus.
So they were parked there for like 30 minutes, and me and all my buddies were like on this roof that we shouldn't have been on. And then we're like, all right, my one friend like says, I'm jumping down. And he says it loud enough for these cops to hear. They look up and see like a couple of us scuttling off the roof. And they're like, what? They get their flashlights out and they book my one buddy. So we're all like half off the roof now. My buddy's been booked. So these cops are now like running around. One gets in his car to start coming around to us. We all hit the ground and we book it down the road. There's a Timmy's at the end of the street. So we all book it to the Timmy's. My buddy's nowhere to be found. And then, like, an hour later, I get a call from Dakota. And he's like, where the f*** did all you guys go? And we're like, we're at the Timmy's. He's like, I never got off the roof. They didn't know I was here. So then we look and we see a couple of cops, like, driving by, like, looking for a band of kids. And we're like, dude, we're so dumb.
What a ride this podcast has been.
Yeah, I realize now that was probably a very long couple of stories. But they're fun. I thought they were funny.
They're funny. I was going to preface those stories, and I was probably just going to put, like, one in there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if you want to hear all of the illegal stories shared in this, listen to the Patreon. But anyways, it's probably been about 2 hours now of us trying to record this, so I might as well call it a night. But
well, thank you, listeners, for,
whatever this episode was.
Coming along with our little story time episode and our chaotic adventure. We had a blast recording it.
Both times.
I know it's not in standard mixed review fashion. However, I hope it's still entertaining for you guys and gals. So,
Asha, did you have fun?
Yeah.
That was
Other than
sincere.
when you blamed me for ruining the podcast.
I was joking. I was joking.
Yeah, definitely.
this is going to be a mess.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up when it's not great.
Oh, it's terrible. I already know. No. Anyways. Thanks. That's it. Dump it. Bye.
Hey there, I'm Jackson's mom, and this has been Mixed Reviews with Tom McMahon, Jackson Brotherton, and our in-host genius, Asha Joseph. Be sure to follow our podcast on your favorite podcast app and join our Patreon for extended, ad-free, and bonus episodes. The link is in the show notes. This has been a Vanish Entertainment production. Thank you for listening.
Dump it.